Ash, the little brown tank engine, is a hard-working engine and does his work well wherever he is needed, alongside with his girlfriend Misty, the Great Western Tank Engine. Sometimes he pulls coaches, sometimes he pulls trucks, but no matter what job he is given, Ash always gets the job done on time and without fuss. One day, Sir Topham Hatt came to see him.
I'm pleased with your work. You are proving to be a really useful engine and you must be rewarded. You shall have a branch line all to yourself.
Oh, thank you, sir.
He was very excited. The Peel Godred Branch line used to be run by 4 electric engines called Andy, Jeff, Sean, and Steve. But the branch line was closed years ago and the 4 engines were sent to the mainland. So it was up to Ash and Misty to help with the restoration, and the other engines helped out as well whenever they could. Ash worked very hard. He brought Jack in the pack, fresh ballast that was brought in from the all-down miniature railway by one of the little Western branch line engines, and bring the workmen to help with restoring the station buildings and track. Months of hard work had passed, and Ash knew it would be time for the reopening of the branch line. But I'm sorry to tell you this, all that pride went to his smoke box, and one night he was bragging about it to Misty, who was trying to get some sleep.
You know, Misty, Sir Topham Hatt really trusts me with this new branch line, and I'm going to make sure it runs right on time, and we'll become friends with the Coldy Fell Mountain Railway engines, too. Plus, Sir Topham Hatt is planning on reopening the mineral works at the end of the line, so we'll have plenty of trucks, and he's constructing the branch line sheds to be restored at the junction too, and it's so exciting, and I couldn't be more excited. And furthermore,
Be quiet. I'm tired and I want to go to sleep. Anyway, I don't understand why he gave you the branch line. I should be the one who should be running the branch line, but out of all the engines, he rewards you the branch line.
Ash knew that Misty was jealous, so he said no more and went to sleep. The next morning, Misty was waiting crossly for Duck to arrive with more trucks of ballast for Ash's branch line. But Duck was running late.
Where is he? He shouldn't have to keep me waiting.
Stop complaining. I'm sure he's got a good reason for it. He was right. 5 minutes later, Duck pulled in, looking exhausted.
Where have you been?
Sorry, Misty, but a lorry had broken down the level crossing. I had to wait until Butch arrived to tow it off the line.
Well, thanks to you, I'm late as ever.
Duck was uncoupled from his trucks and rolled onto the opposite line. Misty backed down onto the line of ballast trucks, but she was going too fast and bumped them hard.
Be careful, Misty. Those trucks will pay you back. Ballast trucks are the worst kind.
I can handle ballast trucks. I don't need to have other engines to tell me otherwise.
And with a hiss of steam, Misty stormed away. Duck was speechless. Misty was rough with the trucks, and as she charged down the main line, they swayed and bumped into each other as she raced along the main line. The final straw had came when Misty had stopped short at a red signal and the trucks crashed into one another. They had had enough
Hey, Misty,
and began to plot revenge against Misty. And they did. They pushed her and held her back. Misty was starting to get crosser and crosser.
Come on! Come on! Come on! Ugh.
Suddenly, there was a loud snap, and Misty shot forward. The resultant jolt knocked her crew off her footplate.
Help! I can't stop!
The guard had saw what had happened and tried to apply the brakes in the brake van, but it was no use against the trucks. Further down the line, there was a field where James had had his accident on his first day. Cows usually graze here. The track curved past the field. Engines had to take great care going around the curve. Misty was heading for disaster. All she could do was shut her eyes and prepare for the crash. She jumped the track, broke through the fence, and plowed into the field. Luckily, no one was hurt, but Misty was in a terrible state.
What have I done?
But it wasn't over yet. Ash was coming down the line with 70 flatbeds, but new rails and sleepers. The ballast trucks had stopped right where Misty derailed. Ash wasn't going fast, but he couldn't prevent himself from crashing into the ballast trucks. When he splintering crashed, he hit the ballast trucks. Ballast went everywhere. It landed all over Misty and Ash. Ash's crew was alright, but Ash, on the other hand, wasn't. His buffers were badly bent, and broken pieces of the first truck were scattered all around him. Misty's guard explained to the crew about what had happened, while Ash's guard went to the nearest signal box to telephone for help. When Misty's guard had finished explaining, Ash was cross, but said nothing as the breakdown train arrived.
Don't worry, you two. We'll have this mess cleared up before you can say bust my buffers.
It's not funny, Edward.
They re-railed Ash and the trucks that had been damaged in the crash, pushed back onto the rails, and Emily, who came in the opposite direction with some empty trucks, as well as Jack, to help recover the scattered ballast that had been scattered all over the area after the crash. Then she took Jack and the train on to Peel Godred. They lifted Misty back onto the rails, but she was too damaged to move on her own, so they placed her onto a flatbed so that Edward could take her and Ash to the steamworks to be repaired. At the steamworks, workmen were looking both engines over. Neither one of them said a word to each other. Soon, Sir Topham had arrived, and wasn't too pleased about the accident.
Misty, Duck has told me about your behavior today, and I also heard that you were jealous about Ash getting the Peel Godred Branch line. I rewarded the branch line to him because he works really hard, and what you have done today is cause confusion and delay. Going too fast, bumping into the ballast trucks, crashing into a field, and wasting some of the ballast.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to.
I'm not in the mood to care. When you are repaired, you will be helping Max out in the shunting yards until I can trust you again. And if I hear any more complaining, you will not be going to the Peel Godred Branch line. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
But it wasn't Sir Topham Hatt who she had to apologize to. She looked over to see Ash glaring at her and realized who she had to apologize to. A week later, Misty was repaired and shunted in the yards with Max. Whenever Ash came to pick up his load, he would just ignore her. Instead of feeling cross, Misty became upset that her boyfriend wasn't talking to her. Later, she told Max everything.
So now ever since that accident, he won't talk to me anymore. I feel like Ash will never forgive me.
Misty, I know Ash will forgive you, and I'm sure you're going to be helping out with his branch line.
No, Sir Topham Hatt will never forgive me, and neither will Ash.
But they will. I'm sure of it.
Misty felt better with Max, and the two went back to work. A few more days went by, and the branch line was nearly completed. But there was still one section of track left to fix, and because it was the last part of the line, Ash decided to take the rails and sleepers along with the last ballast train that was going on to his branch line with him. Edward grew concerned of Ash's decision. The train would be very heavy for one engine to take alone.
You'll need some help pulling that train. You can't do it alone. Why not get Misty to help?
No, I don't need help from her. I can take the train by myself.
Suit yourself then, but don't say I didn't warn you.
And with that, the guard blew his whistle and Ash steamed off. The train was very heavy, but he struggled on.